Y Media Group, established in 2001, is a media company with a 360-degree approach in reaching our audience over 5 platforms: television, radio, newspaper, online news portal, and mobile app.
Y Media has newspaper, midweek, radio, South Asian Pulse.
Hi, I'm Amitabh Bachchan and you're listening to South Asian Pulse.
Hi, this is Amir Khan and you're listening to South Asian Pulse.
अब हर दिन सुने GTA का नंबर 1 रेडियो स्टेशन FM 91.9
All English 24/7 television network and Y Media Plus.
You are watching Channel Y. Channel Y.
Prime Minister, welcome.
It's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to be back.
Online, SouthAsianDaily.com, the biggest South Asian media group, Y Media.
Hello everyone, my name is Yudhir Jaswal. I'm the group editor at Y Media. Welcome to Y Media Political Sensex Ontario Municipal Elections 2022. And today we have the candidates from the City of Toronto. Yes, City of Toronto, Y Media debate. We are going to discuss various topics over here. But before I welcome all the candidates, I'd like to tell you that yes, Y Media political debates will be broadcasted on Rogers 857, Bell 828, TELUS 2418, and on Ignite 707. You can also download our app in case you have this phone on Y Media TV. Download Y Media TV and you can watch us on Channel Y, Y Plus. You can listen on radio live as well. And do read our newspaper, midweek newspaper. And we're also present online, y.media. You don't need to put .com, it's just y.media. And at this point, I'd like to welcome all the candidates. Wendy, hi, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. Thank you so much.
Welcome, Chris, welcome.
Thanks for having us.
You're welcome. Habiba, warm welcome. Bonnie, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome. Mohit, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. And we have virtually Thomas with us. Thomas, on behalf of Y Media, I'd like to welcome you. How are you, sir?
Good. How are you?
Doing great. And at this point, just for our viewers' benefit and for all our candidates, I'd like to explain what is the format of this discussion. We all get 1 minute each for your opening remarks, and then I'll throw in a topic. We're going to discuss that. It's going to be an open debate format where I'll request you if you could keep your answers 1 minute or maybe a little bit less, so we try to get as many views as possible during that short span of time. After we finish up with our topics in the allotted time, we are going to give you 30 seconds each for your closing remarks. Any questions at this point? No? All good? Okay, so this is time for your opening remarks. Wendy, why don't we start with you?
Thank you so much. My name is Wendy Weston. I'm running to be City Councillor in Ward 8, Eglinton Lawrence. I'll share with you what I believe, where I'm coming from, and why I'm doing this. I believe I'm an excellent candidate. Eglinton Lawrence needs a fresh, energetic, modern voice at City Hall, one with the life, work, and lived experience in the city, a professional who knows how to follow rules and procedure, a creative and people-centered politician, perhaps a nice lady like myself. I believe that our society is better when we help each other. In a city, I believe there are some who need help, some who need more help than others, and some who need help at different times. I believe when we give, we get back. We're better when we all do better, and I'm putting my name forth for public office with that value in my heart. I know how government works for you, for constituents. And in this election, we can put party politics aside because municipal government affects you in the most personal.
Thank you so much. Wish we had more time for that. Chris, your 1 minute starts right now.
Shat Shri Akal, good afternoon. My name is Chris Noor and I'm running in Etobicoke 1, Ward 1. This is my 4th time running in this local election. My platform is decentralization government. The government should come to the people. And as we see the gimmicks of the politics before, as we saw before in the provincial election, more money in your pocket. But after the election, is more money in their pocket. So that's why I believe in decentralization government, that the government should go to the people, not only on election time, but go to the people and look at the concern. Even the Calcade parade, it's a big mess, parking and traffic. So I would like to work with the Sikh community to work with the Woodbine Entertainment Center, which they will be hosting 60,000 people. And we could probably have the parade there.
Yeah, we wish we had more time. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you,
your
thank
opening
you,
remarks.
thank you,
Habiba, 1 minute for you.
Namaste. Marunam Habiba Desaiche, Ms. Gabriel Gilwood, Ward 24, Haru Ubelichu, 4th City Councillor. Hello, my name is Habiba Desai. I'm running for Scarborough Gilwood, Ward 24, City Councillor. My 3 campaign promises are, number 1, to fight gun violence by opening up a Khabib MMA fight school at the Borden Complex. Number 2, fight for women by creating inclusive travel on the TTC with women-only subway compartments. Number 3, educate our children with free after-school tutoring between 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. daily. Thank you. Do I have a little time? Then one more? Okay, one more. And Choto Gujarat. For the Gujarati community at Markham and Lawrence, I would like to create a new India Bazaar that has a Gujarati financial and innovation hub. Thank you.
Thank you. Bonnie.
Hi, my name is Bonnie Hu. I'm running for Ward 3, Etobicoke Lakeshore. I support increased supply of housing. I would like to see multiplexing legalized in the city so that every single family housing plot is converted to a 4 unit lot that can support more housing to be built. And also support increased transit, as I am reliant on transit usage. We need to build more subways and also to increase the frequency of the TTC service. And I also hope to represent a younger voice in politics, as incumbents have been in power for too long. I am also an essential retail worker.
Thank you so much, Bonnie. Mohit, you have 1 minute.
Hello, hi everyone. Thank you for having me. My name is Mohit Sharma. I'm running for Ward 1 Councillor in Etobicoke North. My main focus for my platform is tackling mental health within both the community and the city, but not just tackling mental health at the surface, but tackling under the surface and solving the different issues that are causing mental health that we see across the city, as well as tackling homelessness issues across the city, using a different approach than the approaches that we've currently been taking so far, and working with the youth across the city and across all communities, and making sure their voice is heard at all points, and making sure that we are working to a future city that's not only good for the people that are here, but for the people that are growing up here as well.
All right, thank you so much. Thomas, 1 minute for you.
Unmuted. Okay, my name is Thomas Cielo. I work with autonomous vehicles and develop software. I'm a member of the working class, a renter, and I use public transit. The current councillor of Ward 2 inherited his position. He does not represent the entire ward, only those with inherited wealth and privilege. I will represent everyone in the ward, all of our diversity, fighting for affordable housing, safe streets, and climate action. I want Toronto to embrace our multiculturalism and solve our problems by adapting solutions from other cities around the world that have been tested and proven to work, and thread those solutions into the tapestry of our city. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And at this point, we'll start bringing in different topics, and anybody can jump in anytime. Just raise your hand and we would know. Thomas, you could also raise your hand and we would know anybody wants to jump in. But please keep it less than 1 minute, if I may request, so that we try to hear as many different views as we can. Our first topic, yes, it's the city of Toronto. So I want to know, what is your vision for the city of Toronto? If you get elected at the council, So what do you want the city to look like in 5 years, 10 years, 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now? What's your vision for the city of Toronto? Who wants to go first?
Okay, I will go.
Sure.
So my vision specifically for Scarborough starting out is so that we are known as a very rich area. So one of my plans to make Scarborough rich is we have a Yorkville in downtown Toronto, but we can also have a Yorkville that's for ethnic clothes, for example, Indian clothes, Caribbean clothing, African clothing, Chinese wear, and just very high quality, so you don't have to travel internationally to buy these goods. And even residents from the UK and USA can do tourism to Toronto to buy this. And I would build this Yorkville in Scarborough between Markham and Lawrence and Markham and Ellesmere. So my vision for Toronto is to make us one of the elitist cities in the world.
All right, anybody else? Your vision for the city of Toronto? Go ahead.
I do have a vision. My vision for Toronto is to create change through collaborative and supportive relationships to build and grow the city we love. And in this urban vision, there are parks, comfortable benches to sit and relax, wide pathways, space to move and reflect, arts and culture thrive, and there's a place for everyone to call home. It's welcoming, clean, and safe.
All right, Thomas, we want to hear your vision. Thomas, what do you say?
I see the future of Toronto being comprised entirely of 15-minute communities so that every neighborhood in the city has equitable access to all of the resources and public services that we all use every day, making sure everything is accessible. And I want every neighborhood in the city to have its own unique look and feel, but still have access to everything that we all need.
So one of my big focuses for the city is a more greener and cleaner city. We have a lot of great public parks, but a lot can be done to improve it. So I want to push for a lot of public gardens that are accessible to everyone in the community to make sure that food is accessible at the end of the day to people. With grocery costs going up everywhere, a public garden is just what we need in any situation. As well as Thomas said, an accessible city across the board. We have the Eglinton LRT hopefully near completion in many years, even though it keeps getting delayed. And we have the Finch West LRT coming through Ward 1. So having more systems in place that allow everyone to travel across to wherever they need to be in the city. So an open and greener city.
All right, Chris.
Yeah, so I would, as my platform says, decentralization government. So it's the same thing over and over for years, right? The incumbent, they in City Hall sitting there all day and debating and whatever they're debating, and nobody's coming to see the real issues in the community. So that's why I believe in decentralization of the local government. Secondly, LRT from Humber College to Woodbine Entertainment Center, which will be hosting 60,000 people. Also the budget. I would like more watchdog and whistleblower in the budget and where the budget could be moved around. Thirdly, the police. I've been living in Canada for 32 years, and not once have I seen or heard that the police intervene in a shooting. Why it is 32 years? The police always come after a shooting is finished, and we are paying them. The budget is $1.1 billion, 26 million more than last time. I'm not defunding the budget. What I'm saying, if you need the technology to go against the crime, the crime or the gangs, you should ask it.
All right, anybody else wants to say anything? Yeah, Bonnie, go ahead.
I like Thomas's idea of 15-minute cities and also to increase affordability. I would like young people to be able to afford to live in the city and not feel like they'll have to be driven away by ridiculous housing prices. And also, I support increased transit and walkability. I am lucky to live in a neighborhood where walkability is doable, and everything I need from groceries, restaurants, convenience stores is within a few minutes walking distance. And the subway is not too far away from me either. I would like to see this repeated in every neighborhood of the city.
All right, thank you so much, everyone. And at this point, we'll quickly move on to our next topic. I think Bonnie set the tone for our next topic, and that's affordability. I want to listen to your ideas. I know almost everyone with the rising inflation numbers, the rental see the rental numbers going up and up after Vancouver. Toronto is one of the most expensive cities in Canada as far as rent is concerned, and buying a home, okay. Affordability, that's my next question. Okay, Chris, you want to go first?
Affordability.
Yes.
Why are we paying 80% and 70% of our paycheck to rent? And why it cannot be 30% or 40%? If this is happening here with the new premier and you keep pushing people out, why are you pushing us from? You're pushing us out from Toronto? Where are we going to go to? Alberta? Yellowknife? Where are we going to go to? Alaska? That's what I'm saying is, even the encampment in downtown Toronto, they're chasing the people from the tent. What do you expect? And the homeless, there's no place in the homeless shelter. So I'm saying affordability, all government property should be used for affordable housing. And we should solve the problem with labor, the labor dispute and the shortage of labor, and cut the red tape for the developers. Cut the red tape. Okay, in closing, right? The mayor ran the city for 8 years. Now he's saying last night that there's now into planning and development. When you should say, okay, we already built so much affordable housing. So in closing, lastly, the premier ran this premier for 4 years, and all of a sudden he get this bright idea, a task force for affordable housing. So why didn't you implement the task force the first year in power?
All right, Thomas, you want to add affordability?
I'm glad that you brought the province's task force because my plan is to establish a task force dedicated to sustaining affordable housing in Toronto specifically, because we can't rely on the provincial government to follow the advice of their task force. They just completely ignored them. Fortunately, Toronto has an advocacy group called More Neighbours Toronto who have endorsed my candidacy, and they've published a full platform on how to achieve affordable housing in Toronto. It's got 5 steps. I recommend looking it up, reading it over. It's a very detailed plan, and I will give it my full support. And again, I will establish a dedicated task force so that the City Council has these advisors telling them how to sustain our affordable housing supply, not rely on the advice of volunteers.
All right, anybody else? You want to go on affordability?
Okay, sure, I will go. So one of the issues with affordability is demand and supply. So for Toronto, for example, a lot of people want to come here. So we do have a lot of demand. So in order to overcome this, one of my ideas, and I brought this up last year as well, is that we need to work with the federal government to get, and the provincial government, but more the federal, to get access to federal land, to start giving people free land. So this has happened before in the history of Canada, it needs to happen again. So at the end of the day, it's not just about being a renter, but it's about becoming an owner in the long term. And so for ownership, we can give housing ownership, we can give land ownership, but might not necessarily be in Toronto. But if we can make that free, I think this is an incentive to start growing communities. And then this creates, for the main reason is for sustainable food, actually. So then when we start increasing the land production for farming, we're also going to have access to locally grown food for our community, including in Toronto. And the other point is, in terms of creating landlords, they should not be allowed to continuously increase your rent. So the Toronto City Council can come in and put laws in place that says, you know, a certain percentage jump only. For example, right now, first 1-bedroom apartments, just in the month, like in fall and September, they went up 11%. Okay, so there needs to be a certain level of regulation when it comes to the cost of rent. Oh, and that's all I have to say right now. Thank you.
All right, Bonnie, you want to say something?
I am a renter myself, and I am a low-income earner myself, and the issue of affordability is really important to me and affects me personally. I cannot begin to think of owning property in the city. I support building more supply. I would like to legalize multi-tenant houses, also known as rooming houses, so that single people can rent a room in the city and not have to worry about red tape. And also support building more supply. So that includes multiplexing. So reducing the amount of single family units and changing it into multi-use developments.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much. Anybody else wants to go, or we will quickly move on to our next topic? Okay, we quickly move on to our next topic, and that is transit. I know getting around in the city has become more and more challenging, but we wanted to not only hear what are the challenges we're facing right now in the city of Toronto as far as transit is concerned, but also any ideas for a new subway system, a rail line, or LRT, or streetcars. Yeah, Mohit, go ahead.
So I got to experience the the rush of the subway back in 2012, 2011, when I was going to school downtown. And to hear that these issues are still going on 10 years later, it's crazy to think that just that the subways are still packed. I know Yonge and Dundas, during rush hour, can get packed right up to the yellow line, which is already a danger on its own. So adding a sort of relief line to the downtown system to ensure that people don't have to just rely on the university line, but can take something else to get to another place. But looking outside just the downtown core into the other areas, the LRT systems that we're developing in Eglinton and the Finch West are great on their own, and expanding those to different areas. So I know there's talks to expand the Eglinton LRT towards the airport, and the Finch LRT should be expanded towards Woodbine to the new GO station that's being built to allow for more accessibility for people in Ward 1 to have better access to that line that'll take them straight downtown.
Right, yeah. Anyone else from transit? Yeah, Wendy.
Yeah, so the Eglinton LRT goes right through Ward 8, starts at Eglinton, and then the ward, and there'll be 7 stops in our ward right up to Caledonia. And a lot of the businesses and people who live there suffered for years and years, 10 years plus, with the construction there. It's coming along, and when it opens, it's going to be really, really great. But when it does open and how it opens, and Metrolinx is planning some bike lanes and some streetscape, but it needs to make sense along particular areas. I know the Allen Road and Eglinton West Station, it's just a mad scramble there. So I think how the rest of traffic gets through in conjunction with the LRT is going to be important.
All right, thank you. Yeah, Thomas, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, having lived in South Korea, I have firsthand experience with a world-class transit system. It's absolutely beautiful. So that's a system that we need to emulate, and there's 3 key points that make South Korea's transit system so good. The first is that they have dedicated bus lanes on all of their major routes, and this is a very cheap and effective method that we could implement very quickly. It's just paint. We just make sure that the buses are getting across town quicker and more reliably, and that'll boost ridership. The second is intergovernmental cooperation. Their system is designed both within the city of Seoul and in the provinces and the country as a whole to be almost completely seamless from the perspective of the user. Even as somebody who doesn't speak Korean, I was able to navigate the system very easily. So I'd like to establish an intergovernmental panel inviting all 3 levels of government and the developers, Metrolinx and Go and Via, to collaborate on the design to make sure that the system is functioning and servicing all of its needs. And just quickly, the third is Toronto's system is designed on a grid-based design. South Korea's and many other countries use a feeder and trunk system that lays out the transit in more of a spiderweb pattern. It's a lot more efficient at getting people from point A to point B. Sorry, I'll end there.
All right. Yeah, Chris.
Yeah.
Chris, and then...
Oh, let me go after this one. Okay, for those people standing at the bus stop at Albion and Finch in front of Sonny's that I pass by every morning, 5:30, going to work. See, I went to City Hall and I addressed this issue. Nobody picked it up. I called Metrolinx. Nobody picked it up. Right? I called the Premier office. Oh, you should write a letter to the chair. So the thing about it is, They broke down all the bus stop on the LRT fringe, and they refused to build a temporary bus stop. In the middle of the winter, when I go into work 5:30 in the morning, the people is standing at the bus stop cold and freezing. This should be in the contract. Secondly, they're only working 8 hours a day. Within that's what the government or whatever the approval they had, this thing. So I believe we way back behind, we years, like 40 years behind with this transit stuff. And why we have a chair and we have a CEO, why is all these things and we still have problems? I don't understand. I don't understand.
All right, Viva.
Okay, so one of the issues with Scarborough is we don't even have a subway. And the incumbent who was running against me, Paul Anstey, he actually voted against it, and Rob Ford made a big deal about it back then. So right now, one of my campaign platforms, like I mentioned, is women-only subway compartments. So the first compartment in every subway train would be women-only, and there's always a conductor sitting in that train. And this is, again, a very fast and easy way to go about it. I also have a way to make the TTC free. And in order to make the TTC free, we make it into a social media platform. We earn advertising revenue. So if you notice with Netflix, now if you watch 5 minutes of advertising, you get 1 hour of TV show. So it's the same idea. If you watch a certain amount of advertising on your phone, then you would get free access to the TTC. So it's pretty much download the app if you want to travel for free. Everyone will do it. And we will earn so much more revenue from this type of advertising, even specific to stations, you know, hyper local, that we can now start putting in the bus shelters to be heated. You know, we need heated bus shelters, basic things that we do need in Toronto. And it's very easy to make it for free. If Facebook can do it, if Twitter can do it, just from advertising revenue, the TTC has millions of users a year. It's very simple to do it and it can happen. Thank you.
All right, wish we had more time. You quickly want to go ahead, Bonnie?
Like Thomas, I have spent time in Asia as well, and that the transit systems in Taiwan and China are way more advanced than they are in Toronto, and even some U.S. cities like New York have very advanced transit systems. So we are very far behind in terms of building subways. And I also support more affordable trips. So especially with the Presto card system being used, it's more easy to track where you get on and off when you're taking transit. So I would suggest distance-based fares instead of paying $3.20 for every single trip within 2 hours.
All right. Thank you so much. At this point, we got some very interesting ideas, very fresh ideas, a very lively discussion going on here. Our next topic is crime. And we've all seen, now this was a weekend of shootings, carjackings, break-ins, so many other incidences going on. And I want to listen to your ideas, your challenges, and your solutions. Yeah, Chris, go ahead.
Yeah. So I think like the taxis are doing it now. Is that what the city taxi is doing is that the insurance is putting a camera into most of the taxis. So that system, maybe we could try that, and the GPS system. Crime, how we could curb crime, is that I think like you remember the former Ontario government with teaching the kids at an early age at certain mandatory topic. So I think we should advise the kids at the early age, advise them at the early age in social development. So get into the kids before the gangs do. I believe we should get to the kids before. It's like, okay, like if there's a shooting, so much of police is coming and so much of the media is coming, everybody's coming. Now when the father loses a job, or when the child is graduating, where's the media? When the child becomes first in a race in the school, who is there for the child? So you see, the system is a money-making system, where the government have turned into a money-making system.
Here's what I found.
Go ahead. I haven't, yeah?
Yeah, go ahead. Finish your thought.
Curbing the crime, curbing the gun violence. We had that gun coming out from America they was bringing the guns to America with the drone. And you have to control the border. Where are these guns coming from? Go after the manufacturer. Go after the magazine. Who is manufacturing these things?
Yeah, wish we had more time, yeah, wish we had more time. Anybody else wants to squeeze in something? Go ahead. Yeah.
Sure. So my priority is fighting gun violence in Scarborough, and there's 3 ways to do it. But specifically with the youth, I want to open up the MMA Khabib Fight School. So what I'm saying is, I can't stop the young people from using guns. But nobody shoots a gun and then feels angry. They're angry, then it escalates into gun violence. So I can eradicate the anger in children's hearts. And one of the ways to do it for the young people is through a fight school, an elite fight school where you actually have an opportunity to train and become one of the world-class fighters. And I say Scarborough breeds champions. Another component to it is fighting unemployment, is fighting poverty, and that's where I bring in the Gujarati community, because they're such great businessmen, to really empower them to help our economy just thrive, just be one of the best economies in the world. And lastly, we do need to ban handguns from Toronto. I go as far as saying ban handguns even from certain officers that we can civilianize. And so when we ban the handguns, then we can say, okay, now if you use a handgun, the punishment is going to be very severe, very strict. No bail, no parole, lifetime in jail. So these are ways to combat the violence in the city. Thank you.
All right, I think Thomas wants to add, and I'll come back to you guys. Thomas, please go ahead.
Yes, so the Toronto Police Service is failing to meet even their own standards on 3 key points. That is emergency response times, their investigations into crimes that have been committed, and their conviction rate. And I think I would support restricting the police mandate to just those 3 things and make sure that they are investing into the resources that they need to accomplish those 3 goals. Remove all of everything else off of the police's plate, take the funding from those other things that they're doing, and put it into crime prevention. Crime prevention through poverty reduction, drug and alcohol addiction services, after-school programs for kids. Those are proven methods that have worked in other cities at reducing crime.
All right, thank you very much. Go ahead.
So if we're looking at crime prevention, we got to look at the issues that are causing the crime in the first place. So an example to go back to the 90s, early 2000s, when we had the Mike Harris government in the provincial level, we saw wide cuts across every level, including cuts to schools and to our learning. This caused essentially after-school programs to be cut across the board. And although we didn't see it right away, if you relate those cuts to a few years later, we see a large rise in gang violence. It's because when we take away those after-school programs, those programs that kids are able to go to and distract themselves from other issues, we see the rise in gangs essentially targeting these kids and pulling them in. So having more programs available to youth across different communities that they can sort of work in, giving funding to schools so that they can run after-school programs, and we can have our kids within a protected area. That's how we prevent crime going forward. We can fund the police all we want, but that's not going to be preventing crime in the future. Crime is prevented when you at the present and at the foregrounds.
All right, yeah, Bonnie.
Yeah, I support tackling the root causes of crime. That includes poverty reduction, mental health services, substance use counseling, after-school programs, as everyone else has said. Also, I believe reducing police services to only the essentials. So that means certain tasks that the police currently do, like responding to people in crisis, that can be done with a counselor instead, or a mobile mental health team.
All right, thank you. Anybody else, Wendy?
So the Toronto Police Services, they are undergoing positive change, I hope to say. There's systemic racism and discrimination in the Toronto Police Services, and it starts with how people trust them, and I think a trust has been broken, and that that doesn't help fighting the crime. we need to continue building trust and dismantling the systemic discrimination. We know a lot of Black people and Indigenous people and racialized communities, they have a hard time. They're afraid of the police, whereas, you know, if you're not in that group, you might be less afraid, and that's come with years and years of, you know, no funding, and we really need to work on building the trust and dismantling the systemic discrimination.
Yeah, I think, yes, as much as we all need to fight any discrimination, and I think we certainly need to make sure that, yes, no one is discriminated. We all need to have an inclusive and a fair society. But I'll still say that, yes, there are thousands of police officers, you know, risking their life almost on a daily basis to protect the citizens.
Yeah. We need a balance,
Yeah. So we appreciate that as well on this note. We need to quickly move on to our last topic for the day, and that is youth and seniors. I think I want to listen to your ideas. What are you going to do if you get elected to the council for our youth and seniors? Oh, go ahead.
So actually, it's part of my platform for youth and seniors is having a more accessible transit system on the TTC. I believe like seniors should have the ability to explore our wonderful city from end to end without worrying about paying for the TTC fare or anything. If we look at a city like London in the UK, they have a system in place where seniors beyond a certain age have free access to the London tube system, the London bus system. And that's great because they get to explore that city. Why don't we have that system here? Not only just for seniors, youth should have that ability too. We have so many great things that can be seen across the city, from the Royal Ontario Museum downtown to the Science Center all the way across the city. These are places that youth should be going to and just exploring and seeing, or like downtown St. Lawrence Market and around there. The more you explore, the more you learn, the more like things you get to see across the world or just across the city.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Chris. So yeah, you know, that's one of my platform, $1 for a senior. If you work all your life in Canada, and this is the type of treatment you're getting with this provincial government, who should live and who should die, and transporting seniors. Is it a dog or a cat? Transporting people from long term to the hospital and from the hospital. Look at the COVID and this privatization, the long term care privatization, making all this money on the seniors. Come on, man. This is Canada. So I'm saying is we have to have more respect for the seniors, and they work all their life in this Canada and they build this country. The youth, So we, Humber College, where we live in our ward, that's a great asset. And we could use these kids in the school, like young police, young lawyers, young businessmen. This is like a gold mine in Humber College. We don't want a brain drain in Etobicoke North.
Yeah, thank you. Anyone else?
Okay,
go ahead, Aviva.
Okay, so one of my platform ideas is to have a 24-hour office, 365 days. I will use my own salary to help fund this, and this will have a mobile component. So for seniors, they do not need to travel to my office. I will travel to them. And to go forward, we will also fight senior isolation, which is one of the things that leads to the abuse. By having monthly senior socials, which are free bus trips to go all over Ontario to do day trips. For the children, I'm doing free tutoring program, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. online daily, which would now, the tutors are high school students. They get volunteer hours, and children from grade 1 to grade 8, if they go home, they need help with their homework, they just log in online to their French class, math class, whichever class it is, and they're able to get instant help. And this is very doable, again, free. So these are my just easy ways to help the young people and the vulnerable people in my community.
All right, Thomas, you wanted to add something? Go ahead, Thomas.
Yeah, just going back to the 15-minute cities being able to be navigated by people of all ages and all mobility levels without having to drive a car, using bicycling infrastructure, walking, and transit to get everywhere that they need to go, providing houses for multi-generational families, more housing options for seniors who want to age in place instead of going to a long-term care facility, keeping them in their own communities with the support network that they rely on.
All right, thank you very much, Wendy.
Children and seniors, where the municipal government can support with the children and seniors. Obviously, we have the child care centers and excuse me, long-term care homes. But I really think the arts and culture scene would the arts and culture scene, the engagement and belonging and being together and learning from each other. Kids do that so great when they're young, and the seniors they would also enjoy and they would also enjoy that. So municipally, that's
something you want to do.
Somewhere to start. Yes.
Thank you very much. 20 seconds, Bonnie.
I was partially raised by my grandmothers. My parents had to work all the time, and it broke my heart to see that they weren't able to do things like go to the store because the place I lived in at the time was poorly designed. It was designed for cars. So I would like to see, of course, transit so that seniors are able to be mobile instead of being stuck at home. The same goes for youth, especially if they're too young to have their own driver's license.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Better planned cities, huh?
Yes.
Yeah. Great suggestions, great ideas. We wish we had more time, and at this point, I'd like to thank all our candidates, and I'll give you 30 seconds each for your closing remarks. Why don't we start with you, Thomas, this time? Thomas, 30 seconds for you.
Yeah, I just really want to emphasize that Toronto could be so much better. We just need to start electing representatives who have vision, who represent the population. I'm a working class person. I rent and I use public transit, so I will definitely be voting to improve our lives for everyone, not just the wealthy homeowners and car drivers. Thank you.
Thank you. Mohit.
So yeah, I guess it's a quote that I always like to use. We plant the tree for the shade that we'll never know. And that's what we have to, the approach that we have to take to the city and the way we work with it. Everything's going to be there beyond it. And we can work to a better city. A better city, a better community always starts with a vote.
Right. Yes, Bonnie.
I am a renter. I can't think of owning property in the city. And I hope to represent the voices of people who are less privileged like me. I have also been a retail worker for years, and people like me are, in recent years, have been considered essential. And also, I support marginalized communities, such as people of color and women, people with disabilities.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, so I just want to thank the listeners for listening. I also want to say thank you so much for the support that the Scarborough residents have shown me. It really humbles me to want to keep serving them. If you want to get in touch with me, you can give me a call at 647-895-7934. And yeah, go vote Desai, Scarborough Gilwood. Thank you.
Thank you. Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, so if you could zoom up to the camera, please. So this is, okay, so this is a library that was built by the former city councillor, Mr. Crisanti, for 15 million, right? And this is the poverty report. Help feed the kids in school, in closing. 27,160 live in poverty here since 2018. Education is one of the key. Get to the kids before the gangs do. Advise them at an early age. After school program. And in closing, fully fund all the city strategy, which is the service and heart of being in the community.
Chris, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. My name is Wendy Weston. I'm at wendyweston.com. Should I be elected your city councillor, I will serve you with integrity, respect, peace, and kindness. I will listen to you with empathy, and I will work with you in diverse communities to form decisions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Wendy, for joining us on today's discussion. Chris, thank you so
welcome.
much. Very warm
Thank you.
welcome on behalf of Y Media. Habiba, thank you so much. Pony, thank you so much. Mohit, thank you so much. Thomas, thank you so much for joining us on today's discussion. Wish we had more time. Very interesting ideas. And we will carry on that discussion on Channel Y. So stay tuned with the Y Media on Channel Y, which is serving in Punjabi, Hindi, Urdu, and English, and also on Y Plus, the 24/7 all English channel. You can watch on your phones. Please download the app Y Media. In case you want to watch us on YouTube, search for Y Media Group. If you search for Y Media Group on YouTube, you will find us. Please do subscribe. If you want to watch us on Facebook, yes, it is Y Media on Facebook. It's Y Media on Instagram as well. The contact number is right there on your screen. So just in case you want to call us, text us, ask us where Y Media is available, please do not hesitate to do so. 416-475-5000. Thank you very much on behalf of Y Media Group. I'd like to thank you so much. Thank you. And thank you so much. Stay tuned with Y Media.
Hi, this is Priyanka Chopra and you're watching Channel Y.
The biggest South Asian media group, Y Media.
Y Media Group, established in 2001, is a media company with a 360-degree approach in reaching our audience over 5 platforms: television, radio, newspaper, online news portal, and mobile app.
Y Media has newspaper, midweek, radio, South Asian Pulse.
Hi, I'm Amitabh Bachchan, and you're listening to South Asian Pulse.
Hi, this is Amir Khan, and you're listening to South Asian Pulse.
अब हर दिन सुने GTA का #1 रेडियो स्टेशन FM 91.9
All English, 24/7